My name is Wolfgang Drescher. I have two facts, and at the end of these two facts, I will mention it very short. I have a question. First, I heard this morning very astonished that banks have to have at least 10% of the sum they give as credits. I think this is very, very small sum. Second fact is we have to install a new bank system, and I think often about the way we will manage this. And therefore, my question is, what's your opinion, to my proposal, to allow the new banks to give credits only if there are savings of their customers or savings of the people, and at least if the new proposal is in the direction of politicians, we are living in democracies. What's your opinion if I mean to get the people behind us? We have to propose to the new banks, give new credits only if there are savings of the people. And if there are no savings because they have no work, no chance to get money, there will be the government to give directions if there must be new money printed for special what you mean, investments. Yes, thank you. That was my question.
The question is an honest question, but it's a wrong answer proposed. What the idea of money, and this is something which is best known to the traditions of the United States, because the United States was created by a process which led from the influence of Nicholas of Cusa, who is actually the progenitor of this kind of revolution in culture. It led into processes which led to the American Revolution. But this American Revolution actually started as a revolution in what became known as the state of Massachusetts, the Massachusetts Bay Colony. Now, the first form of modern financial system was developed in the Massachusetts Bay Colony during the middle of that century. It was a model which worked and would have continued to work, except that it was suppressed. It was suppressed by the new Venetian Party faction, which became the British Empire. Now, the American system, as defined by the founder of the American system, Alexander Hamilton, organized a concept of how to run an economy which is unknown generally except to some Germans associated with Bismarck and a few people like that who actually understood what a credit system is. We do not need and should not seek a money system, even a money system by a bank. How the United States works, when it's not under the influence of the British, is we operate on a credit system. That is, the federal government makes an arrangement under which credit is organized as between the season of the planting and the harvesting. And therefore, you have to give credit to the producer, whether a farmer or a manufacturer or whatever else. And that person is given credit to the point of production, where the thing is resolved. The purpose is that the result must always be an increment in the productive powers of labor and standard of labor, of skill, of the population. That is the American system. That is the U.S. federal Constitution still today. Now, we have a lot of crooks in the United States, some of which are called presidents, and some people of lower rank. And they believe in a monetarist system. The monetarist system is a product of the Roman Empire. It became part of the first Venetian system, became part of the second Venetian system, and the second Venetian system became the British Empire. What we are living under British domination, and by treasonous Americans who have too much money, who, on the basis of repealing the Glass-Steagall Law of President Franklin Roosevelt, were enabled to create a system of destruction, which has struck since the beginning of this particular century and has ruined the world. Now, there was a lot of corruption beforehand. From the beginning of our system of government, particularly from the time of Andrew Jackson, from Jackson on, the United States system was a corrupted system. From time to time, as with under Franklin or Abraham Lincoln and others, there were periods of life, as under Roosevelt, in which the United States reverted to what is continued to be our federal Constitution. We do not operate under our Constitution. We operate under British banking. The British banking control of the United States, we typified by Wall Street, was established essentially during the period of Andrew Jackson. Not by Andrew Jackson, but by the people who ran him, who were British bankers. Since the time of the Andrew Jackson administration, the United States system, as a banking system, as a financial system, has usually been under the control of the British Empire, operating through British banks based on London, which operate through New York City, the Wall Street crowd, and similar kinds of institutions, and Chicago. So that's been the problem prior to what has happened recently, the beginning of this present new century. So what we need, essentially, is one thing, and we don't want to buy anything else. We want an international U.S. credit system. We want an international credit system, but a credit system based on sovereign national power, which operates on the basis of producing an improvement in the per capita level of productivity of the population and the security of the families and so forth as a result. The progress of mankind into a higher future, higher technology, solving problems that we didn't solve before. This is the American system. It is not a monetarist system. A monetarist system is a dangerous thing. They exist, yes. Monetarist banking should be discouraged. In any case, monetarist banking system must never become national banking systems. What we can have is national credit systems where the federal government gives a promise, a pledge, and a backing for the successful process of trade and production. And that's the way we have worked in our best. For example, what the United States needs now, one of the projects, and what we're doing, we're determined to overthrow this system inside the United States, the present system, because it's contrary to our Constitution and it's a fraud. And it will destroy not only us, it will destroy the planet. Therefore, we need a system among sovereign nation states who have agreements who are based on this kind of a credit system. That will work. And you can take the nations on one at a time as they agree to come to these agreements. And that system of agreements is the way to run an economy. Because the purpose, people think that money is value. Money is not value. It has no intrinsic value. And you have money in the bank, that doesn't mean you have value. You had better look at the bank, especially these days. There's not a bank in the United States that I would trust. As a matter of fact, I'd recommend their discontinuation virtually, because they're totally rotten, they're corrupt, And what we will need is simply the enactment of Glass-Steagall now would eliminate, not only correct the issue, it would eliminate those banks which are the offenders. They would be eliminated, not bought out. Under our Constitution and the fraudulent practices now, we don't owe those banks one penny. So we'll start with Glass-Steagall. By Glass-Steagall, we will save a certain part of our regular banking system in its various varieties, various kinds of expressions of banking or quasi-banking. We do that, then we're going to find we don't have enough money left over because virtually all of the money, which is denominated as U.S. assets, is worthless. We have a hyperinflationary situation in the world, including the United States and Britain, which is an absolutely hopeless situation. There is no way in which this system could survive, even with modest reform, but you don't need a modest reform. Oh. All we need to do is go back to the original constitutional principles, the Hamiltonian principles of banking, a credit system, a managed credit system. We need to use public means to promote investment, promote farming, promote technology. And that'll work. The main thing is get rid of this British Empire. Get rid of this monetarist system, which is now hopelessly bankrupt, has no justification for existing. We have to turn around, establish a proper banking system as a credit system, and we can do just fine.